Hello, my name's Ben.
Hi, I'm Hannah, and I'm a mental health practitioner, and we work within student services.
Today we're here to talk about keeping motivated, what can be barriers to motivation, and how to overcome them.
So first of all, let's have a think about what mental motivation is and what physical motivation is. What are the differences? So when you think about health and motivation, what are those differences between mental and physical motivation? So have a little discussion as a group and see what the differences might be. Working on mental motivation is really important for physical health. Physical motivation is important for mental health. The two are intertwined as mental health and physical health are all health. In order to be healthy, consider how much time you spend supporting both your mental and physical health. For example, going for a walk is good for your physical health, but it helps you to clear your head and to focus, which is good for your mental health. As a group, I'd like to think about why is it hard to keep motivated? Is it the same things or is it different depending on what you're trying to get done? And are there any commonalities between you and the class? So just take a moment to think about that. Here are some of the things that we came up with as reasons as to why it might be hard to keep motivated. Do any of these apply to you? Were there any others? So what we've got here are that it's hard to prioritise your tasks. That there might be too many tasks or demands on you. That you're feeling overwhelmed. You don't know where to start. Perhaps it's that you've got lots of different deadlines at the same time. Not sure if a subject is right for you, so you might not be motivated if you're not that interested. Uncertainty. It might be that you've had a better offer. Perhaps your friends are going out and you'd rather do that than do some of your work. It could be fear of failure, that you think you're not going to get a good grade, you're not going to do well, so you're not going to give it a go. Or it could be overthinking. Did anyone say any of those?
So now we're going to take a look at a video about the fight, flight or freeze response. This is what can cause us to feel anxious in our bodies and can sometimes make us feel overwhelmed and like we're not able to get on with what we want to get on with.
Hi, I'm Hannah and I'm part of the Children First team that supports children and families in East Renfrewshire. The coronavirus crisis and lockdown has changed how we all live our lives. I wanted to take a moment to talk about the different ways such a stressful and overwhelming situation might affect you and let you know it's completely normal. The way your body responds to stress can often be described as fight, flight or freeze. One day you might be feeling productive, getting outside for some exercise and even baking banana bread. This is our brain's way of dealing with stress at this time. Fighting to find purpose, drive, motivation and to use this free time as best we can. There are also times when your brain will want to run away from the worry. This is a flight response. On these days, you may want to ignore everything that is going on around you. You might find it harder to do even the simplest of tasks or string together a sentence. On other days, you might feel completely numb, and this is your brain going into freeze mode. At these times, feelings of loss, fear, loneliness, worries and doubt can take hold and feel really overwhelming. It's important to remember that all of this is normal, and I've definitely had all of these days. Our fight, flight, freeze responses aren't conscious decisions. They are automatic reactions to our environment, and they are as individual and unique to us as we are to each other. Being kind and showing compassion to ourselves and others is all we can really ask of ourselves just now, and it's the biggest thing that will help us through.
So as you can see from the video, there are obstacles to keeping motivated. And it's normal to not feel motivated all the time. It's okay to sit with that feeling and accept it. As once you've addressed what's going on for you, it becomes easier to motivate yourself to take on smaller, manageable tasks. So why keep motivated? In your class, think about why that is. And whether it's physical health or mental health, it can be hard to keep on track and keep motivated. So why is it? Why is it important to keep motivated? What have you come up with? A sense of purpose is important, and keeping motivated allows us to pursue our goals. By achieving our goals, we can affirm our values, sense of self, and it can help us to feel good about ourselves, which is then good for our mental health. So here were some of the things that we thought about. To reach goals, to maintain balance, feel a sense of achievement, a sense of purpose, have time for college work and a social life, get to your full potential, acknowledge what you set out to do, and pride. Does anyone have any others beyond those? So what do you do to keep motivated? What are people currently doing? Have a discussion as a group. Are there things that most of you are already doing to keep motivated? Has anyone said that they do something that you're keen to try, or perhaps you haven't thought about before?
So when we're trying to keep motivated, we can try and look at our problems, but sometimes they can feel really big and really hard to tackle, and that's what can feel overwhelming. It can be really hard to know where to begin. And that can especially be true if we're feeling like we're a bit behind with work, or feeling like we want to start things that we haven't done for some time. So let's have a look at how you can solve problems like that and overcome those barriers. So if, for example, you're preparing for an exam and you're feeling like you've got lots of work to do and you're not sure where to start, it's just too big of a problem. The first thing you can do, break it down into little problems. Think about, instead of all the work you have to do, break it down into categories or into modules so that it doesn't feel like such a big piece of work. You can list all the possible solutions to how you can overcome those problems, maybe revising each little bit or focusing on the bits that you're not so strong in. When you've got your plan sorted for solving your problem, you can speak to a friend, a teacher, a family member, someone really just to run it past, because when we get in our own heads, it can be hard to give ourselves the advice we need. So sometimes getting help from someone could be a really helpful thing to do. If something goes wrong when you're trying to solve your problem or when you're implementing your plan, it's absolutely fine. You just got to try something new, pick yourself up and try again, because that's what being resilient means. And that's such an important thing when thinking about motivation, is not being put off too quickly. So we're going to have a go at solving a problem now. So the problem we're going to think about is there's an important lesson first thing at 9 AM. You leave home at a good time and you're waiting at a bus stop, but it should have come 10 minutes ago. What do you do? So pause the video for a minute and have a think between yourselves. What would you do if that happened to you? What might go wrong and make it harder to solve that problem? Okay, so then if you come up with these solutions. First thing, keeping calm, really important. Sometimes our fight, flight or freeze response might kick in and make it harder for us to think. A very common thing with that is tunnel vision, not being able to think outside of your thoughts. You could get quite stuck in them. So really important to try and keep yourself calm before you try and solve what comes next. In that situation, if you're late, you could email your teacher and let them know what's happening, or contact someone in your class so that they could tell your teacher for you. And next time you could leave 10 minutes earlier to avoid the same problem happening again. You could also then look for different routes to school and think about which is the best way to overcome your problem. So instead of getting too sucked into all the worry and the fear that could put you off actually trying to solve that problem and get to college on time, instead you can think of little ways to solve the problem that's in front of you right now. Another thing that is really important to do when trying to keep motivated and keep on top of everything is creating a schedule. And the reason for that can be that when we try and focus on big problems that come up, they can just feel too insurmountable and too big. So having a plan of how to focus on things and avoid that happening in future is really valuable. When creating a schedule, it's not just about all of the work you have to do or all of the difficult things. It's really important to plan in good things as well that keep you going and keep you motivated. So pick your skip days in advance. That'd be days where you're not doing anything that you need to be motivated for. Remember not to revise what you know if it's about schoolwork and not to overdo it. I think sometimes when we try and sit down and make a schedule, we can really go over the top trying to think, I've got so much to do, really going to try and squeeze it all in. Make sure that it's manageable and realistic, and make a timetable and stick to it.
Sometimes, though, creating a schedule can be very difficult. So if you know that you struggle to structure your time, one thing you can do is to try habit stacking. So habit stacking is where you identify one of your current habits and tag on a new habit onto it. So examples of this could be after I pour my cup of coffee each morning, I will meditate for 1 minute. After I take off my shoes, I will immediately look at my coursework. After I've had my cereal, I will say one thing I'm grateful for that happened today. After I get into bed at night, I will read my book. After I put on my running shoes, I will text a friend or family member where I'm running and how long it would take. So this can make it easier, as the new behaviour just becomes a part of something that you are already doing. Pressure. We can often be faced with images and statements like those on the left, particularly at this time of year. And they aren't always helpful. There's a lot of pressure to make drastic changes in the new year, but focus on the here and now and what changes can be beneficial to you moment by moment. Any day is a day to make a change, and a small positive change is still a change. Your goals will be different to those of others, and it can be hard to keep motivated when we measure our successes against those of others. So it's important to praise yourself for the small wins, not just the big ones. That could be coming into college on time, handing in a piece of work, going to bed before midnight. As a group, can you think of any small changes you could start making? Make sure they're manageable, as once you've achieved the smaller goals, you can keep progressing until you reach your ultimate goals. So just have a little discussion on that. We often write lists of things we haven't done, and this can sometimes make us feel more stressed when we look at all the work yet to be completed. What you could do is try making a list of all the things you've already done to remind you that you are putting in effort and you are moving closer to your goals. So what I'd like you to do as a little activity is to just list 5 things that you've done today. It doesn't matter how mundane or small they are. For example, one of the 5 could be brushing your teeth. You still did these things when you didn't actually have to. Try doing this with your college tasks as well, and you might be surprised at how much you've achieved. So just take a few moments to list 5 things that you've already done today. Downtime. When we have lots on our mind and there's lots going on, it's common to feel overwhelmed. Downtime is an important way to bring balance to our lives. If we're stressed, we can often end up procrastinating or overworking ourselves till we burn out. But by having relaxation time and scheduling in regular breaks, as Ben said, this can take our mind away from the stress so we can recharge and refocus on the topics that we have to with more energy and a clearer head. You may even get some tasks done quicker this way. So make sure you ensure that you schedule your downtime, take regular breaks, and also you shouldn't have to feel guilty about relaxation. It's an important part of life. What do you do for downtime? As a group, list some things that you're already doing.
So Hannah said a little bit about how important it is to take care of yourself, make sure that you have downtime and relax around the pressures that can happen when trying to be motivated to do what we need to do. Another way that we can do that is actually by doing things for other people. Doing things for other people actually has been proven to make us feel quite happy, make us feel calmer and more engaged in our lives. And the website Action for Happiness has an excellent plan for each month of how you can do something small for other people. It's just a little thing that can help to make you feel positive as well as someone else feel positive. These are just little things every single day that are very easy to fit into a schedule, and I'd really recommend checking out that website and seeing, even if you just want to do one thing a week from there, and see how it makes you feel.
Okay, and here we have the contact details for the different wellbeing services in college. And if you'd like to know more, then do look on Moodle or talk to your tutors. There's also a mental health crisis line for adults and for under 18s run by the NHS. And there's a number of apps and online platforms where you can get support 24/7, such as Kooth and Togetherall. So do sign up for those. And part of keeping motivated is involving other people, as others can help us to stay motivated. So make sure you do talk to others about how you're feeling. Thank you.